Hi, thanks for tuning in to Gabbing with Girlfriends. I'm Gloria Butler, and I'm speaking to one of my oldest friends. Not that she's old, but meaning I've known her for a really long time. Are you old?
A
Anyway,
long time. I'm getting there.
I'm talking to Rika O'Connor, and
Hi.
this is nice. This is really
Yes.
nice.
We never get to catch up.
Ever.
Ever.
We only see each other at funerals and
I
things, and it's kind
know.
of hard to catch up at funerals and
Yeah.
things. So I don't even really know where to begin.
Hmm.
Um, okay, before I start asking you the 3,000 questions I have for you, I have to ask you a question that really is more personal and not professional. But don't
Okay.
panic; it's not that personal.
Okay.
Um, but how many times a week ish do you have to reset a password?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't do it often enough, and
No,
I
but
really
because you
should.
sign on to do something and you don't know the password.
Well, yeah, I know. But now, just about probably 4 months ago, I started keeping track of them, and like diligently, because last year, not December last month, but last December, I got identity theft so bad,
You did?
so bad, like thousands of dollars stolen,
Did you
thousands,
get it
and
all back?
finally, yeah, but they whoever this was that did this tried to buy a car with my Roth IRA account. Like they got into my entire life.
No
So
way.
it is important to do that and to keep track of your passwords. And I don't know what happened, but and change
I
them
think they
often.
say
And
you
that's what
should
I
change
don't
them all
do.
the time anyway.
The what?
I think they say you should always change them, like periodically, just
Yes,
randomly
you
change.
should. You should. I
But
don't because I'm a creature of habit, and but
me
until
too.
until I sign in and I don't know it, then I have to change it over and over again. But that
Yeah,
happens a
no, it's
lot to me too.
crazy.
Yeah. But I
Yeah,
started
like
writing them
what
down
on piece of paper or in your phone?
in my phone and locked. Locked. There's
Oh
a
yeah,
there's a there's a mechanism where you can lock it also in your phone, which I just learned about when all this happened.
really?
So yeah, yeah, I'll tell you about it.
Oh, I am so sick of having to guess how many stoplights there are, and that I'm not really a
Right?
robot.
How many fire hydrants?
How many mountains do you see?
Yeah, I
How
know.
nuts is that?
Yeah.
I swear to you, I must have to do it once a day,
Yeah, well,
definitely
yeah,
3 or
me
4
too.
times a week,
Yeah, for
definitely.
sure. Me too.
So I'm going to start keeping track too. I always think that I kind of have a photographic memory,
I
and they're
used
always
to.
kind of the same. So I think I'm going to be okay, and I'm not.
No, because you have to
So
add like an exclamation point or something after, or like you have to do
that's
that now.
new.
Yeah. There's some kind of character.
that, that was the most confusing of the most confusing part of it all.
Yeah, I know.
So, okay, so tell me what you're up to.
Right now, I'm just kind of getting rolling into the new year. Still a little bit wrapping up last year, as far as tours and things, but I'm pretty much almost done with that. And then getting into the new year with, doing it all over again. So,
Always. Nothing
yeah,
ever changes. It's just a
no,
different year, just
yeah.
a different number,
Hmm.
and that's it. Um, but are you busy? Not busy? Now that the touring world, for anybody that doesn't know, Rika is an agent in the music industry, and which is how I knew you. Is it how I knew you?
Yeah, for sure. Yes, we've known each other like over 20 years.
Oh,
Yeah,
forever.
yeah.
Anything over 5 years is forever, but
Yes,
just
I
saying.
know. And I think it's because we were working with the bands that you were managing. Well, Biff for sure, Apartment 26, and then I think Gravity Kills, and
Yep.
maybe in some other bands, maybe. But that's for sure how I know you. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I would talk to you all the time.
Forever.
Hmm.
Um, and you lived in New York.
No, I never lived in New York.
I made that up.
You made it
We
up.
can have that right
Yeah.
out. Really?
No, no. When Dave Kirby moved from New York, I was the first person that was hired to open the West
Oh, I
Coast office
remember
of
that.
the
I
agency
do
group.
remember that.
I already lived here. I had moved here from Detroit.
I
And I
remember
didn't
that.
know him. I was referred to him by somebody else, by two different other people that I had worked with previously a little bit at my
Huh.
previous jobs. Yeah. So it was I didn't really even know what the agency side of the business was about, really, because I had
Because
never.
you come from the record side of the
Yeah.
business.
Yeah. I mean, I knew what they did, but I I never had an intention on working on that side, but I gave it a
Here
try.
you are.
Here I am 20 some years later.
And okay, so I must have known Andrew longer than I knew you, and
Mhm.
Mike,
Yeah, Andrew and Mike worked for Dave in New York, and then Andrew moved with Dave out here,
but
and
he's
that's
back in New York.
no, he's actually in Nashville now.
Oh God, I can't
Yeah,
cope.
I know.
Because I knew
He,
he was in Mamaroneck for a while.
yes, yeah, and that's where our office. We still have an office there. Oh,
And is that where
the dog's going crazy.
I
Uh,
hear? That's the
so Mike
sound that's
still lives
always
there.
in my house.
There's the Amazon delivery or the mail
Of
person's
course.
here or
Yeah, that
something.
was
Yeah,
definitely an Amazon bark
yeah.
for sure.
Hmm.
Um, so Mike's there.
Yeah, Mike is there still in that office in Mamaroneck. And then Andrew, probably 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, decided to move to Nashville.
Just like that.
Yeah, it was really just like that.
Um, like did he go there visiting or to a gig or anything and decide, oh, I can
No,
do this?
I actually had gone there, and somebody that we used to work with Slipknot. Do you know Danny Nozell? Danny
Who?
Nozell. Danny Nozell.
I don't think
Danny
so.
Nozell was the tour manager for Slipknot when we worked with Slipknot,
Oh,
and he's been a great friend all these years. And he reinvented himself as a manager, and he's Dolly Parton's manager.
no
And
way.
yes, and he has this huge company. He has a lot of clients. He has a lot of clients, not just Dolly, but like that was his first, I think, management client. And he really helped her. I mean, she was already huge, but like she didn't have like a website and she wasn't selling merch online and stuff like that. He really helped
So
her.
how long ago was that? So
This,
he leaves Slipknot.
yeah, and I don't know what the timeline of his whole thing with Dolly was, or how that even came about. But I remember when I heard that he was managing Dolly Parton, I was like, oh my gosh. And he moved to
Oh my God.
Nashville. So I had gone to Nashville for something. I don't remember what it was. I think I was just passing through, honestly. And I reached out to him, and he was like, I'm not there. I'm actually in LA right now with Dolly doing something. But we started chatting. And he goes, you should really move to Nashville and open a TKO office there. And I was like, oh, Paul would love to, my husband, Paul would love to move there. He loves Nashville. So I just mentioned it casually to Andrew, and that was it. I said, Danny Roselle said we should, open an office there, and we could work in his office and work in Dolly Parton's office, which I love Dolly. So I don't hear another thing about it. And then next thing I know, like 2 months later, Andrew's like, hey, yeah, so I'm moving to Nashville. I'm going to open an office in Danny Roselle's office. It
No
worked in
way.
Dolly Parton's office. Yeah, he did it.
That's what he did. That's where he
Yeah.
is.
That's right. So he's not
Wow.
there in that office anymore. He moved to we got their own office. So many people moved to Nashville after that from us. We used to have
Oh
the
my
most
God.
people in LA, but now there's the most people in Nashville.
Yeah. Oh no, it must be half of LA. Half
Yeah,
of Los Angeles music
yeah,
industry has gone to Nashville.
I know.
I need to
So
go there. I need to go have a good visit with somebody.
I need to go and explore more because I
I've
can't
only ever
decide
been
to.
for gigs,
I've been
ever.
in and out every
Yeah.
time I've ever been there. It's been like 24, maybe 48 hours tops. And before I could make a decision of whether I want to move somewhere, I need to go there first, and like see what it's like.
I know somebody that was living in Los Angeles and years ago was dating somebody who lived in Los Angeles. This person moved to Nashville, and anyway, she moved in with somebody else, and years went by. They reconnected and got super serious, like really serious.
Yeah.
And she like started every time she went to Nashville to see him, she would bring another suitcase and to leave there, like all the things there. Like started out with her toothbrush and her face cleanser and whatever, and then a suitcase and another suitcase and another suitcase. And she was 5 minutes away from making a permanent move to Nashville. And then woke up one day and said, I can't do this. I don't want to be that far from my kids, because she had two kids who are
Oh
grown
yeah.
up. But she goes, I couldn't do it. I just could not leave the West Coast and go to the middle of the country. She said, I've never
It's a
done it.
big
And I just
move.
couldn't do it. And she loved it when she went every other week for long weekends. But the thought of it being permanent just freaked her out.
Yeah,
Isn't that
I can
weird?
relate. I can relate to that, honestly. Although if I fell super in love with somebody, if I wasn't married, if I fell in love with somebody that was long distance, I probably would move. Because honestly, that's what brought me to Los Angeles. I moved for love. I didn't really move for a job. That didn't work out. That relationship didn't work out, but that's how I am. I mean, if I fall in love, I'm probably moving. you know.
But back then, Los Angeles was a far greater
Yes.
adventure than, I guess, for
Agreed.
her, for Nashville.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know. I
I
don't
don't
know.
I don't know either. Like I love it here. I love the West Coast, but I'm from Detroit where it's freezing and gray and flat, and I love waking up to sunshine every day here. And
Yeah.
a palm tree on my front lawn, and I can look straight up my street. It's far in the distance, but I can see the Hollywood sign. You know,
Well, I do
so
like seasons. I do
yeah,
really like seasons.
I don't really miss
But,
the
um,
seasons.
but yeah, I think that you either do or you don't, or
Yeah,
you're indifferent, one or the
yeah.
other, I think. But, okay, so you moved to LA for love. That didn't work.
Right.
And then Paul, at the time, was he living in New York? Yes, he was.
Yeah, he still lived in New York. He did not move here until 2001, which was the year that I started at the agency group. And I didn't know him really. I knew him because I read his magazine and I would see him on VH1, and I had met him once or twice casually, but like we weren't friends at all. I didn't know him at all. And then when he moved here with his girlfriend. And
Oh, I don't remember that.
yeah,
I
they
remember
moved
him
here
moving there, but I
together.
don't remember
Yeah, but
there
then
being a
they
girl.
didn't, that didn't last very long once they moved here. They broke up later that year, I think. So then I started chasing him around LA,
You
and he,
did?
yes, and then he never remembered who I was. Never remembered who
It's
I was.
nice. Very nice.
I'd be like, "Hi, I'm Rika. Remember me?" And he'd be like, "No, no,
That's nice and honest.
yes, no." But then when we started going out, I said, I used to walk up to you all the time and say, "Do you remember who I am?" And you'd say no, and he goes, "Did I have a girlfriend at the time?" I said, "Yeah," and he said, "I don't talk to other girls when I have a girlfriend, and I certainly don't
Oh,
remember girls when I have another girlfriend." And I was like,
that's when
"That's
you
the
said,
right
"He's the man
answer.
I'm gonna marry."
That's the right answer. It
Yeah.
is." Yeah. So,
Huh. Huh. Is it still
yep.
true?
Yes. I had a girlfriend who's a super smoking hot model, was at an event or something, and she was like, "Hi." And he was like, "Hi." She's like, "You don't know who I am, do you?" And she's my friend, and he knew her through me, but like, he's like, "No." And she's like, "That's so
Uh,
cute." She goes, "That's so cute.
it
Rika
it is
told me you
cute.
would say that."
Oh, that's really cute.
Yeah.
Um, so, okay, so then you ended up at the agency group, you ended up with Paul, and then, sadly, we lost Dave Kirby.
Yeah. So we were at the agency group for like 4.5 years, and we decided to leave and pull a Jerry Maguire type thing. And he's like, "I'm leaving. Who's coming with me?" And Mike and Andrew and I decided, we were going with him, and we started TKO immediately. And that was in 2005. And then he got sick probably late 2008, and then he died. Yeah, in 2010, which we had 5 years about with that here at TKO with him. Sad.
Really, I mean, it still freaks me out,
Yeah,
and it freaks me out so much that he was so sick for a while, and I really resented that I didn't know.
yeah.
I mean, I know nobody knew or kind of nobody knew,
No, he wouldn't let us. He was very private about it, really,
and
really
I get it.
private. And it was
I
hard
totally
for
get
us.
it.
It was really hard for me because I'm a girl and I'm emotional, and you talk to your girlfriends and stuff about stuff like that. And I didn't want to betray him either. I really, really held it to it too. I didn't even tell like my very best girlfriends who don't even work in the music industry. They don't even have anything to do, and I didn't even tell them. They don't even know anybody. So
I remember calling him and or emailing, whatever, saying, "I'm gonna be in LA next week, and can we have lunch?" And I wouldn't hear anything from him. And he ended up, I can't
which
even remember what it was, but during this time, it was something with the cult, but I put some band on the road with the cult, and I can't remember what it was, but he did me that favor, and we hadn't even seen each other for ages. And I called and said, "Oh, I want this tour," whatever it was. And then I was coming into LA, and I said, "I owe you lunch. Can I take you to lunch next week?" And I never heard from him. And I really thought he was upset at me about something. Like I had
Yeah,
no
why
idea.
would
And I,
yeah, that's what you would think, because he always would respond to you. It might be a few days later, but you'd always hear
yeah,
from him.
always.
Yeah, yeah,
And knowing that, you know, like when I had a favor, he answered straight away. He got them on the tour straight away, whatever. And then to say thanks, to ignore me. And I think in hindsight, I guess he didn't know how to say no to lunch, or I think he did eventually answer saying he was going to be sailing or whatever,
yeah, yeah,
his favorite pastime.
right.
And but I remember I was like hurt because I didn't know what I did that could have upset him and whatever.
I'm
And
sure you're not
then,
the only one that felt that
no, no,
way.
me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah,
I mean, I remember shortly after he passed, I had this kind of conversation with some people who said they had no idea either, that I think were actually guys and closer to him than I was. So I think it made me feel a little better, but it
yeah,
was just devastating. Devastating.
yeah. It was a weird time for us, and then just trying to, keep the company going, without him was like, that was tough. It was stressful, but
Yeah.
we did it.
Yeah. And yeah, well done. I mean, because that had to be terribly challenging.
It was, and I think he would be proud. And his wife tells us all the time, that he would be proud, and she's proud of us.
So you stayed in touch,
Oh yeah, I love her. Yeah, she's great.
and the kids must be grown ups now.
They're all grown up. Yes, like late 20s,
No
maybe.
way.
Yeah, David might be 30 now. I don't even know. I have to look. Yeah,
I am the sort of person that wherever I leave off with somebody is the way I remember them,
same.
and I
I am
think that's
too.
what they still are.
I am
So
too.
if one
Me
was
too.
10,
Yeah,
then to me they're still 10.
yeah,
And
same. I just saw a picture of one of our clients that we've worked with for many years as like a Christmas picture with their daughter, and I was like, she looks like she's like 16 now, and in my head she's like 7. Like, oh my gosh.
that's so funny.
Yeah.
So funny. Um, so so that's good. So work's picked up post pandemic. It's
Yeah,
all normal.
last year, yeah, 2022 was the busiest year I can ever remember as far
Is
as
that
touring.
true?
Yeah, I think because so many bands couldn't tour for those whatever 18 months or whatever it was, that everybody went on tour at the same time. And you heard about it. There were tour bus shortages and
Oh
crew
yeah.
shortages and equipment shortages. So
There were tour manager shortages.
yeah, yeah. And it was a lot. I mean, it's great because it made up for lost time and lost money from the previous year and a half, but it was very challenging with all that, trying to we had to cancel a couple tours because of lack of tour buses and things like that. Which that stinks when you actually do all the work and then they can't actually do the tour. That's terrible.
That's bad.
Yeah. So it was challenging and very busy. I traveled the most for work that I've ever had, I think, in my past, but it was good. It was good. And this year, should be really busy too, I think.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm glad for the sake of you, and I'm glad for all the artists and
Yeah.
all the fans because it's what everybody's used to doing.
Yeah.
Everybody, likes to go to a concert, and bands like to be on the road. And
Hmm. And honestly, the industry has changed so much. That's how the bands make their money now is on the road because, they're not making most medium mid-level bands are not making money selling records anymore. That doesn't exist. So
no,
they
and
need to
it's
tour. That's how they and sell merch. Touring and selling merch is how they
yeah,
make the majority of their money.
yeah. It's really it's interesting because like once upon a time, that is how bands got discovered, either doing residencies or touring or whatever. And then radio came along, and then videos came along,
Mhm.
and everything changed. And now it's back to where it was. It's you have to hit the road. You just have to be out
Yeah.
there. And like the whole making and selling records is totally different. It's
Remember
just,
the big advances? Like the record
yes,
labels
I
would get
do.
huge advances. That doesn't happen
No,
anymore. You're lucky if
I'm
you
not
get
even
any money.
sure if you're not a hip hop or urban act or a pop act. I don't even know who's on record labels
Yeah,
anymore.
I know. It does happen, but it's a lot of them are just doing it on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I spoke to John Nelson last week, and
Mm-hmm.
it was so interesting, like kind of reminiscing about the way street teams were. Isn't that weird to think
Yeah.
that people used to give out samplers?
Yeah,
And
flyers, samplers. Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
I remember when it was cassette samplers,
Yeah,
and then it graduated to CD samplers.
yeah,
And yeah, now you just go online.
yeah. I worked at one of those companies. Well, it was an internship really my last year in college in Detroit. They were located here in LA, but they had reps all over the country. And I did that in Detroit for, I don't know, probably one semester, maybe the whole year. I don't remember. And that's how I just kind of I got to meet some more people in LA that way. So when I did move here, I knew some people.
And the best part was that people used to keep and gather their mailing list with a piece of
With a piece
paper
of paper,
and
I know.
pen. It's like,
No, sign up. Yeah, sign your name.
yeah, and
I
people did
know.
it.
Yeah.
And I mean, me, the way I am, I lose probably 5 things a day. I couldn't even imagine trying to
Oh,
keep a
I
mailing
know.
list going today.
Nope.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that is weird.
So, okay, so tell me about these um, rock cruises. Because you've done a couple,
A
right?
lot.
Oh, you
I've
have?
done a lot of them, like at least 15.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay, give me the scoop. So do
Yeah.
they always go the same place?
No, no, there's different ones. There's ones that are like rock cruises. There's like blues cruises. I don't know if Jimmy Buffett has one, but like the Moody Blues, like there's the Blues Cruise or something they're called. And um, I think Motley Crue had one called Motley Cruise at one point,
Oh, that's
maybe.
funny.
Yeah. And then there's Shipwrecked, and there's Monsters of Rock, and we had one. We had one with Motorhead called Motorboat, and TKO actually owned it with Motorhead. We did two of them actually when Lemmy was still alive, and it was great. Those that was a little bit different because we were part owners in that, but the second one was probably the most fun I've ever had in my whole life.
What was that?
it just was. It was just awesome. It was my birthday that week, and like
But
all
this
of
was the
our
motorboat one.
the second motorboat,
Okay.
yeah, because all of our clients were a bunch of our clients were on it. A bunch of my friends were on it, and it was my birthday, and it was the last. It was a couple months before Lemmy died. It was in October, and then he died in December. So it was like the last time we ever got to spend time with him. And there was a big cake for him, and then there was a big cake for me because it was my birthday, and it was fun.
So where did that boat go?
That one went to the Bahamas. I feel like we hit a storm. I think we hit like a small hurricane, and we were supposed to go somewhere else, and then we ended up going back to the Bahamas or something. I can't remember. But they don't all leave out of Florida, and they don't all go to the Bahamas. Sometimes they go to Mexico. Sometimes they. Last year on Shipwrecked, I went on that. That left from Galveston, Texas. That was the first
Oh,
time I've ever
wow.
done that, and that went to I think Cozumel and somewhere else, Costa Maya.
So how many people roughly are on the boats?
Probably like 3,000, I
Oh
want
my
to say.
God.
22,000, 3,000. Yeah.
So it's like being at a gig,
Mhm.
literally,
But
and being on the
nonstop.
water.
But nonstop for like 4 or 5 days or whatever.
And how many
I
times can you get off the boat? Every day?
Whenever you have a stop, whenever you have a stop. Usually there's two, sometimes there's three. I think there's three. I'm going on Shipwrecked in a couple weeks, and I think there's three stops on this one because it's a longer cruise. It's 6 nights. I have this hair on my face. I just was on the Kiss cruise in November, like right around Halloween into November, and that went to Cabo and somewhere else, Ensenada, I think, or something. I didn't get off the boat there. Um, just depends. Yeah, like that one was easy because it was right here. I didn't have to fly. I just went to San Pedro and got on the ship. So super
So
easy.
who else played besides Kiss?
They did two back to back. So the first week was some bands, and then I went on the second week, and we had Buck Cherry on that one, and oh my gosh, I
Somebody
can't
else.
remember. Yeah, the first week we had LA Guns. The second week we had a bunch of bands on the second week. I can't think right now.
So when you're
Uh,
on it, you don't have to play every day?
no, but each band usually plays twice. Kiss played 3 times on that one.
Well,
Usually they play twice. Some play 3 times. It just depends on what you're. And then, some bands play on the deck, some bands play in, there's clubs on the ship, some will play in the smaller clubs. There's a theater, which is large. It just depends on the size of the band, where they get to play probably.
And then
Small.
how much contact do the passengers have with the band? A band like Kiss, for example, a bigger band.
Well, not a lot. I don't think on that one with Kiss, because there might have been a meet and greet or something for fans to do that. I'm not sure. But they don't really walk around in the crowd on that. But a lot of the bands on the other ships do. They just walk around. They'll go see other bands. Paul Stanley went to see all the bands on the ship. I saw him at every show. And he would talk to people, but there are also VIP areas where he could stand. But on the other cruises, the bands just walk around. They'll eat in the regular dining room. They'll talk to fans. They'll go to the club nights. They'll go to the karaoke nights or whatever in the rooms. And it's really a good experience for the fans to meet
Oh,
bands.
yeah.
Yeah. Just depends. Like, a band like Korn, I was on one of the shipwrecks with Korn, and they really couldn't walk around. They were just getting, mobbed. So they couldn't walk around. If they did, they had security with them. But a lot of the mid-level bands, they just walk around, talk to everybody. They're really nice.
And where do you go when you get off? Do you do your own thing, or are there excursions for everybody to do together?
You can do an excursion that you pay for if you want. There's a beach, or sometimes there's private islands where there's like a pool and you can pay a price or you get drinks all day and food or whatever. It just depends on the things, what you want to do. Sometimes we'll just get off to escape and go to a resort, and just like a private resort, and just pay, so we're just away from everybody. But sometimes they have bands on the beach, and if it's like that, then I'll stay, because it's usually one of my bands is playing on the beach. But it just depends on the cruise and how they have it set up. I don't think on this shipwreck coming up that there's any bands on the beach. There might be. I haven't looked yet.
And then you could eat. All the restaurants are the way that normal cruises are. There's loads of restaurants with different kinds of food, and everything's
Yeah.
included.
There's the dining rooms that are included, and then there are options to go to restaurants, like the sushi restaurant. You have to pay, but it's not expensive. It's not like you're paying for everything. I think it's like a flat rate. I'm pretty sure, and you can go to that if you want, and anybody can go to that. The bands can go to that. The fans can go to that if they want. Like on the Kiss cruise that I was just on, there was an artist dining room. So only artists and their people crew. So
that's cool.
Yeah, so it was separate if they didn't want to eat with the, at the regular rooms, but a lot of people do anyway. They go to those rooms anyway. Sometimes there's better options for food in the other rooms,
So that's fun.
Yeah,
That's really
it's
fun.
fun. It's a lot. I mean, it's a lot, because bands are playing from, I'd say, 11 in the morning until 1 in the morning. So
No
there is stuff
way.
going. Yeah. So it's not like a regular cruise where you're going on vacation and you get to lay around and you could go play bingo. You could do, like, it's not like that.
Bingo.
They do have bingo on these too, but it's usually, fun bingo with some of the bands and
Yeah,
things
yeah.
like that. Like on the Kiss cruise, Gene and Shannon hosted a newlywed game. So they picked
Oh, that's
certain
fun.
couples that were just, regular passengers to come on, and I didn't go to it, but I'm sure they had questions like the newlywed game that was on television. How well do you know your partner?
Right.
And stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And Paul Stanley had a cooking class, and he cooked spaghetti or something, like his famous spaghetti. And, I guess how people can line up and get in there, and when it
Did they
fills
have
up,
to pay
it fills
for
up.
it?
Nope.
Was that an extra thing?
Nope.
Oh, that's
You
cool.
just got to go
Really
to that.
cool.
Yeah. And sometimes there's wine tastings. I don't know. There's all kinds of different things.
I love it. Oh, that's really fun.
There's usually charity events on there. So there'll be like one charity, like Cancer Sucks or whatever, or something like that. And then
Yeah, because I think there was something for Ronnie's charity on
one of them, maybe on the motorboat
ages
one.
ago.
Yeah, it might have been on the motorboat one. And then they'll, auction off things, signed guitars and things like that for charity. And you surprise people. I wonder what a lot of these people do for a living, because they're spending a fortune on these ships. I'm like, wow. And it's
Yeah.
not cheap to go on those. It's not like a regular cruise. Like you can get a regular cruise for like $350 or $400 and go to wherever, Cabo or whatever. But these are really expensive, like $2,000. So
But when you watch some of the things people like different auctions, and you see guitars or lyric sheets or whatever, or stage clothes, it just amazes me where people have the money to buy these things.
I know. Me
Like,
too. I think
yeah,
that every time I'm like, wow. And they just look like a lot of people. They just look like regular,
yeah, yeah,
Midwestern blue collar people like I grew up with. And they are just forking out money for like,
I love it.
$10,000 for a signed guitar.
Wow. Um, so that's fun. So do you have any vacations coming up? No,
No, I mean, I'm
because
going
you're
on
doing this. You
shipwrecks,
don't need a
which,
vacation.
yeah, I mean, that's not vacation really,
No,
but
I
there's
know.
there's still elements of fun. I mean, I still get to have fun on there, and I've gone so many times that I've gotten to know people that just go on regularly, and they've become my really good friends over the years. So I love seeing them. It's like a little reunion every time.
Does Paul go?
He does, yeah, he goes. But I don't think I have any vacations coming up. We've been traveling so much for work. Last year I went to Cabo for vacation right before Christmas. And I thought we might do that again this year, and it didn't
Oh,
work
I
out.
remember that. I
Yeah,
remember you went with, I
another
forgot.
couple,
Yeah,
another
I
couple.
remember.
Yeah, a girlfriend of mine from Michigan actually, and her husband. And I don't know. We want to schedule a vacation, but I don't know when. It's hard.
Well, you went to New York for Christmas.
Yeah,
So who was in New York?
Paul's
Paul's family?
family. Yeah, my in-laws, and we hadn't been there for Christmas in many years, and it was the first time his parents were hosting for the entire family in several years. So they really wanted us to come. So we went.
Oh,
Now
cool.
that everyone's grown up and married and they have, everyone goes to their in-laws, it's hard to get everyone at the same time. But this time they got everyone at the same time. So we had Christmas day and night together. It was awesome.
And who had the dog?
We take him to a place on Venice called LA Canines. And the woman that runs it, she worked for Caesar Milan for 10 years. She
Oh,
was like
wow.
Caesar's like right hand. And she happens to be married to somebody who we used to be in a band that we represented many years ago. And then after that, he became a manager and he managed a band that we worked with for several years. So he married her. It's really close to my house. It's at Robertson in Venice. It's on the way to the airport. If we have to drop him off on the way to the airport, it's great.
Perfect.
He has friends there. His name's Tito, and he has a best friend named Frito there.
No way.
Yeah, because it's a daycare, it's a training facility, and it's a boarding facility. And they post, their videos of the dogs on the Instagram, so I can watch what he's doing every day. I mean, he acts like he's so mad when we dropping him off. He won't look at us. Like he's so mad. But then I watch him on the video and he's having a blast. Like, he's running around, playing with all the dogs.
Oh, no, he wants you to feel that guilt.
Yeah, of course. He knows
Definitely
the
feel
difference.
that guilt. Um, and so have you been going on the road a lot? Like with bands that are working? Have you been,
A little, yeah, a little
I
here and
hate
there.
going on the road.
Yeah, and
Hate
I'm not
it.
going on the bus. I haven't been on a bus since probably 3 or 4 years. These are just fly things. I was just in Vegas for a few days with a band called Yachtly Crew that we're representing.
Okay, tell me about them.
They're so much fun. They play like soft rock hits from like the 70s and 80s, Christopher Cross and Hall and Oates and Michael McDonald and stuff like that. And it's all songs, sort of rocked up a little bit, but true to the song. Like they dress like in sailor
Yes.
costumes and they have a little bit of choreography and they're just lovely people to work with. Honestly, they are a pleasure to work with
How old are they?
because
Ish.
40, I would say they range from 40 to 53-ish, 55
Oh,
maybe.
wow.
Yeah, so they're adults. And
A grown-up band. How
they're grown
nice.
up, yeah. And I think they're so nice because they're not like music industry people. They're just like a bunch of guys that got together and created this band, I think for fun, really. They thought they'd play a couple times for their friends in the valley or something, but it kind of blew up. And they're not jaded and angry
And do
people.
they have a
So
fan base around the country or?
I mean, it's building around the country. Mostly right now, I would say it's a regional, like, all of California, West Coast and like Arizona and stuff like that. And they definitely have, it's going east. They've done a couple little tours around that have done well. It's growing. I was in Nashville with them in October because we had a showcase at the AIBA conference and that went over really well. And then I was just in Vegas.
Oh,
They're
wow.
doing a residency at the Palms in Vegas. And so that's going really well. And I think that they may want them to come back for a second round of that, which will be great. And so I just went there and I went to the Hell in Heaven Festival in December in
Oh,
Mexico
you did?
City. Yeah, I went to that. Anthrax was on there and a couple other bands we work with. And it was the first Pantera show. And I work with Charlie, the drummer. So that was awesome. It was cold there though. It was a lot
Yeah.
colder than I thought it was going to be in
I
Mexico.
remember years ago, I kind of think it was maybe Andy and Rick. I can't remember, but somebody was having a New Year's Eve party in Vegas years and years and years ago. And I was thinking, oh, well, that's kind of nice. It'll be hot. And I think at the time I was living in England. That's how long ago it was.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, nice and hot. That's what a fun thing to do on New Year's Eve. And then I remember somebody sent me pictures and everybody had on a coat. I never knew it got cold in Las Vegas. I just think of Las Vegas as hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It was
no.
chilly when I was there last week. But yeah, Mexico City was really cold. Well, it was also kind of outside of Mexico City. It was like the venue was probably 40 or 50 miles away. It was in Toluca, I think. And I didn't realize that was really high elevation. It's higher than Denver there. And
Oh, no way.
and it was really, really cold at night. And some of the singers were having
And that's
a
where
hard
Priest
time.
played as well, right?
Where?
Judas
What?
Priest, that's where they played too,
Yes,
right?
yes, yeah. I saw them too. Yeah. And it was some of the singers were having a hard time, because of the cold and because of the elevation. Like they were having a hard time catching their breath, which I, didn't even think of before I went there.
I've never had any desire whatsoever to go to Mexico City. I like Cabo, which is the only place I've ever been
Yeah.
to in Mexico. And I've heard great things about Puerto Vallarta, wherever,
Yeah.
but never had any desire. And everybody I know that's been to Mexico City loves, loves, loves it.
Yeah. My first day or so there, I was not too hip on it. But then the third day, when I finally had a chance to like walk around, because we stayed in Mexico City, it was nice. Everyone was friendly. It was, it's city though. It's not like Cabo where it's like beachy and it's different. I've been to Cabo and Puerto Vallarta and places like that in Mexico, but I'd never been to like a city like that. But it's cute and there's a lot of culture and things. I would definitely go back again and explore a little bit more. At some point when I'm not working, maybe just have a little trip there.
I love that when you find some place
Yeah.
and you can't really see it because you're working and that's where you want to go back to.
Yeah, we had
Love
a
that.
nice experience once everything was over with work. Yeah.
Okay, I just noticed the time. I'm not quite sure how we're already at the time to say goodbye. And we
My
haven't even
gosh,
scratched the surface.
because
So
we
that
never
means
catch up.
ever. So that
I
means
know.
you have to do a part 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay.
Okay, I can talk.
Okay. We have so many things we didn't talk about. Steve Strange. We
I
didn't talk about
know.
bowling this year. Did you go?
Yeah,
Oh,
I was there. Yeah.
so many things. Okay, I'm making a
Yeah.
list of all the things
Okay.
that we missed, and then I'm going to text you to see when we can do this again because I loved this.
I know, me too. I
I
know.
loved
I
it
never
more.
get to see you. At least I can see you on my
Ever.
computer.
Yeah.
I know.
This is fun.
Hey,
Okay, well, I can't thank you enough.
of course. I love you. I miss
And
you.
I can't wait to see you
Yeah.
soon
Yes.
somewhere.
Yes. Well, I'm a
Um,
terrible friend and didn't realize that I forgot you
no, I know. It just,
we would have been
but
in
you
the
know
same
what?
city at the same
The
time.
the time just, that's what happens.
Yeah.
The time just goes, and suddenly they're both in the same place and not even know it
Yeah.
because
We're
the
going to catch
time
up.
just goes.
Hmm.
Okay, well, I'm going to go nurse this throat of mine. I seem to be having a voice that's going. And I love you, and I'm glad we
Yeah.
spoke. And I look forward to the next one.
Me too. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Kisses. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in today. And be sure to follow Gabbing with Girlfriends on here so you never miss an episode. You can also find us on social media for more fun and in-depth conversations. Thank you.